shadows in the sand. The desert had its own kind of silence, an echoing stillness that pressed against a man's chest like a weight. The moon hung pale and swollen above the sand, painting the rocks and cacti in silver outlines. Coyotes cried somewhere beyond the ridge, their voices low, mournful, and wild. Jace Callahan shifted in his saddle, the creak of worn leather loud in the hush. His stallion, Cole, stamped once at the dust and snorted as though sensing the unease that clung to its rider. Jace's hand brushed the butt of the Colt at his hip, but his eyes swept the ridgeline, scanning. Something wasn't right. He was supposed to be alone out here. The job had dragged him 50 miles from town, past broken trails, and through gulches no decent soul rode at night. He'd tracked a rustler, or so he thought, but the trail had turned cold by sunset. Still, something in his gut told him not to head back. Something waited for him in the night. And then, her voice, low, smoky, cutting through the stillness like a whisper carried on the desert wind. "Cowboy, do you fear me or want me?" Jace stiffened in the saddle, jerking his reins to steady Cole. The horse tossed its head uneasily. The voice came from nowhere and everywhere all at once. "Show yourself," he barked, the edge in his tone sharpened by instinct. His hand rested on his gun, but didn't draw. Not yet. From the shadows between two mesquite trees, she emerged. A woman, tall, draped in a long, dust-colored cloak that swayed with the faint breeze. Her dark hair spilled loose over her shoulders, and the moon caught in her eyes, turning them into twin pools of silver fire. Jace swore under his breath. Women didn't travel these parts alone. Not at night. Not alive, anyway. She stepped closer, the sand crunching soft beneath her boots. Every movement of hers was measured, slow, deliberate, as if she had all the time in the world. "Answer me, cowboy," she said again, her voice steady now, not a whisper, but something stronger. "Do you fear me, or do you want me?" Jace's throat went dry. There was danger here. He knew it. But damned if he could look away. The stranger's challenge. "I don't play games," Jace muttered, his eyes narrowing. "Neither do I," she answered, tilting her head. "But men often do, when faced with what they don't understand." He studied her, the firelight glint of her gaze, the way her cloak didn't quite hide the faint outline of a revolver at her hip. She wasn't some lost wanderer. She wasn't helpless. She was armed, calm, and too sure of herself. Jace dismounted slowly, boots sinking into the sand. "What's your name?" Her lips curved, not into a smile exactly, but something close. "Names don't matter in the desert." "Maybe not," Jace said evenly, "but they matter to me." Silence stretched. The wind shifted, carrying the smell of sagebrush. "Finally," she said, "Ilera." Jace let the name settle on his tongue. Strange. Rare. It didn't fit this land. Ilera. Between fear and desire. The desert woke before dawn. The coyotes went silent, replaced by the slow stir of wind through the scrub. The fire at their camp had burned down to embers, glowing faintly like dying stars. Jace hadn't slept much. He'd kept his back to a rock, one hand on his gun, but his eyes had drifted too often to Ilera. Her face caught in the flicker of firelight, her breathing steady, her presence unsettling. And always, her question lingered. Did he fear her, or want her? When she stirred awake, Jace rose and kicked dirt over the last embers. "We move," he said. "Running already?" she teased, wrapping her cloak. "Not running. Surviving," he shot back. But the truth gnawed at him. Part of him was running. Not from rustlers, not from bandits, but from the pull this woman had on him. The ambush. They hadn't ridden an hour when Jace saw the dust cloud. Too controlled, too steady. It wasn't weather. It was riders. "Damn," he muttered, pulling Cole to a halt. He scanned the horizon. For men, maybe 5, coming fast. Ilera's hand went to her revolver. "They've found me." "Who?" Her jaw tightened. "The rancher's brothers. They swore revenge." Jace cursed under his breath. This was the danger she carried. It had followed her across the desert, and now it would swallow them both. The riders spread wide as they approached, rifles glinting in the morning sun. Dust swirled around their horses' hooves. At the front rode a broad-shouldered man with a scar carving down his cheek. "Ilera," he roared. "You're a dead woman." Ilera's face hardened. She drew her gun in one smooth motion. "You'll have to earn it." Jace's blood heated. He drew his Colt. Whatever she'd done, whatever shadows clung to her, he wasn't about to let 5 men cut her down in the open desert. Stay close, he growled. The fight was quick, brutal. Gunfire cracked through the air, echoing across the empty flats. Jace shot the first man clean out of the saddle. Another grazed his shoulder, but Cole reared, buying him a heartbeat to fire back. Dust, screams, the thunder of hooves, it was chaos. Through it all, Elara was steady. Her shots were precise, her movements fluid. She wasn't some scared wanderer. She was a survivor. A killer, if she had to be. When the smoke cleared, 3 men lay still in the sand. The rest fled, trailing dust behind them. Jace lowered his Colt, chest heaving. He turned to Elara. She hadn't flinched. Her gun still smoked in her hand. Your trouble, he said. She met his gaze without shame. I warned you. Truth under fire. They dragged the bodies behind the rocks. The desert would claim them soon enough. Sun, coyotes, vultures. Jace washed the blood from his shoulder with his canteen, hissing at the sting. Elara knelt beside him, tearing a strip from her cloak to bind the wound. You didn't have to fight with me, she said quietly. Could have let him shoot you. Jace muttered. Not my style. Her hands were steady as she